Hi everyone! If you want to make the Adonis dress, the pattern has been shared in the DIY section of the website milanavjc.com. Once you are on the product page, you can get all the information to make it, whether it be measurement chart, fabric or notions required. As you can see, the tutorial is completely free. However, the pattern download is under contribution. We only asked for a symbolic €10 to support our zero waste design research. It doesn't feed us, but it helps developing the project as we really want to keep improving and sharing our design with you. So once you've downloaded the pattern, you can choose from A0, A4 or US letter format. You will also get an instruction booklet with all the cutting and sewing information, so please have a look on it before choosing a fabric. Then, once you have printed the pattern in your size, cut the bottom edge as well as the right edge on each sheet of paper following the black thin external frame line, and stick all the sheets together. Then make sure all the rounded marks are aligned. Now that you're ready for cutting, the first thing to do is to fold your fabric in two on the cross grain so you can align the selvages perfectly. And then you have two laying options. Either you lay the full rectangle pattern on the fabric, then you cut the paper and the fabric all together following the thick orange lines. This is obviously the fastest method to cut it, but it might not be recommended if you want to keep your scissors blade in a good shape. Or you pre-cut the paper on the thick orange lines and you lay all the pieces one by one like a puzzle game, and then you cut the fabric only. The next step consists of making small cuts using the tips of the scissors to report the notches on the fabric. If you're working with a plain fabric, you can also mark the wrong side or the right side with an erasable pen to help you recognizing your pieces when sewing. Grab the 8 pieces of the cuff and pair them right side together on the middle edge. Assemble them by sewing at 1 cm from the edge and make sure you secure stitches at the beginning and at the end. Take the 12 pieces of the belt to recreate the full length and pin them right side together, and make sure the rounded edges work as symmetrical pair, otherwise afterwards you won't be able to sew them together. Assemble the belt pieces by sewing at 1 cm from the edge and make sure you secure stitches at the beginning and at the end. Then, with an iron, press all the seams open. If you have some cardboard left over somewhere, I highly encourage you to grab them in order to cut some pressing jigs for the belt and the cuffs. The next step consists of pre-shaping the rounded edge of the cuff by pressing the seam value over the jig. Then repeat the same operation for the belt. The only difference is that instead of pre-shaping only the top edge, you can pre-shape both edges, still following the jig. Pin the over and the under part of the belt wrong side together and make sure to hide all the seam values in the corner. Pin also the over and the under part of the cuffs, and I advise you to start pinning outwards one side after the other. Then, following the outline, top stitch the cuff at about 1 mm from the edge. And then you can top stitch the two belt parts as well. For the back opening strings, you can either take 4 cm of pre-shaped bias that you can find in any sewing shops, or you can also pre-shape it yourself from the leftovers you could get if the fabric was not cut straight when you bought it. Top stitch your bias at 1 mm away from the edge and close one of the extremities to get a nice finishing. Now let's move on to the body making. The first step consists of overcasting all the horizontal edges of the dress except the hem. 20 edges in total, since you have both the front and the back pieces to overcast. Pin the upper fronts with the lower fronts and the lower fronts with the skirts, and repeat the same operation for the back pieces. Now I guess you are asking yourself, why is there a seam between the upper front and the lower front? Well, simply because you can choose to rotate the full skirt and get the knot on the sides instead of the front. We are not going to show it in this tutorial to avoid any confusion, but at least you know that dress is modular, so you can get different versions out of the same pattern. Then, assemble the pieces by stitching at 1 cm away from the edge. Then, with an iron, press all the seams open. For better finishing, top stitch each side of the seam at 1 mm away from the middle and make sure the seam value is kept flat underneath. Now you can overcast the middle seams and the side seams for both the front and the back pieces. As you might have noticed, the top bag is open, so I have added a notch on the middle seam so you know where to start the stitch from. Pin all along the edge up to the notch and make sure the horizontal seams match perfectly. Then, from the notch, assemble the back seam at 1.5 cm away from the edge and make sure to double secure the stitch so you prevent the back seam from coming undone. Same operation for the middle front, except the fact that the seam has to go up to the neckline. With an iron, press the seams open and extend the fold values up to the back neckline. On each side of the front and the back seam, top stitch at 1 mm away from the middle. Now let's move on to the shoulders. Flip the back over the front, right side together, and pin the shoulder edges. Assemble the shoulders at 1 cm away from the edge. Again, press the seams open. and top stitch each side of the seam at 1 mm away from the middle. Place the bias on the neckline, right side together, and leave about 1.5 cm overtaking the beginning of the seam. When stitching into the bias groove, try to add some ease by creating little waves under the foot, since it really helps getting flat curves. At the end of the seam, secure the stitch and cut the bias at about 1.5 cm away from the edge. Then fold it towards the inside, make sure the excess value is hidden, and slide one of the back string inside. Pin the string and double secure its placement by stitching at 1 mm away from the edge. Then top stitch all along the bias and make sure to keep the neckline as flat as possible. When you reach the end of the neckline, fold the excess of bia inside following the edge line and slide a second string in before stitching over. Then the next step consists of placing the belt ends 1 cm under the side seams peak in order to hold them in place before stitching. Flip the back over the front, pin all along the side seams to prepare the stitching, and make sure to stop 20 cm before the hemline to keep the side slits open. Assemble the sides at 1 cm away from the edge. Make sure the horizontal seams are joined together, and when you reach the side corner, check that the belt is still held in place. In the corner, plant the needle down, pull up the machine foot, turn the fabric, and keep stitching till the slit notch. When you reach the slit notch, double secure the end of the stitch to prevent the seam from coming undone when working. Fold up 1 cm towards the inside of the slits and press the rest of the side seams open. Then top stitch the contour of the slit at about 5 mm from the edge to keep the seam values flat. For the hemline, use the same finishing technique as the neckline, that is, stitching a bia on the right side and then folding it toward the inside. Remember that you need to keep a folding value at the beginning and at the end of the seam. Now for the cuffs, place the middle seams in front of the sleeve seam and pin them together. I advise you to pin outwards because depending on the size you got, you'll either get an overlapping area or a gap. Assemble the cuff and the sleeve together by stitching at 1 cm from the edge. And overcast the assemblies. There we go, this tutorial is now coming to an end. I really hope you enjoyed it. Don't hesitate to leave comments, to give us thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel if you want to keep yourself updated by the next zero waste pattern release. Of course, I also encourage you to share your creation on Instagram with the hashtag AdonisDress. Let's keep in touch. Bye!